Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, the question that I will be answering is, does Proverbs chapter 16 verse 4 contradict James chapter 1 verse 13? So let's begin by going over what those two verses say. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 4 reads, "The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil." James chapter 1 verse 13 reads, "Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man." So the source of contention here is, well, the first verse says that God made the wicked, but the second verse is saying God doesn't make people wicked. That is, he doesn't cause people to sin. So these verses do not contradict. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 4 is speaking about God's sovereignty and control over the wicked and the righteous. He can use either to fulfill his purpose, depending on what it is at any given time. For example, he used his servant Moses, a righteous man, to fulfill his purpose of deliverance for the Israelites, according to Psalm 77 verse 20 and Isaiah chapter 63 verse 12. But he also used King Nebuchadnezzar, who was a wicked man, to fulfill his purpose of punishment towards the Israelites, according to 2 Kings chapter 24 verse 10, all the way down to chapter 25 verse 21. And he even called him my servant. Just as he called Moses my servant, he called Nebuchadnezzar his servant, in Jeremiah chapter 25 verse 9 and chapter 27 verse 6. So you can see that both were God's servants, even though they were used in very different capacities. And that is how powerful God is. It's actually a testimony to the power of God, because he is not limited to people who obey him to fulfill his purpose. If you read Isaiah chapter 2 verse 2, it says that when the kingdom of God would be established, all nations would flow onto it, including people who know about it, including people who don't know about it. You don't even have to know God to be used by him. That is the level to which power goes. Just as even humans sometimes. There are many humans who are controlled, by their cell phones or by whatever. But the people who are behind those technologies, they may not know who they are, but they're the ones controlling them anyway. That's just a human example. A million times that when it comes to the spirits. So that's Proverbs chapter 16 verse 4. James chapter 1 verse 13 speaks about the fact that God does not push anyone into sin, because it's his will that all should be saved and come onto the knowledge of the truth. If you read 1 Timothy chapter 2 verses 3 to 4. So it wouldn't make sense for God to be pushing someone to disobey him. However, God can allow temptations to come, the way it happened to Job in the Bible, for our spiritual development. Remember, same James said, "My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience," according to James chapter 1 verses 2 to 3. So, one verse speaks about God being able to use the wicked or the righteous to fulfill his purpose. The other speaks about God not acting against his own purpose by tempting someone. Let me put it another way for you. God will not push anyone into wickedness, but if he or she decides to be evil, then that person can now be used to fulfill a certain part of his plan, whatever part that may be. So I think that explains how Proverbs chapter 16 verse 4 does not contradict James chapter 1 verse 13. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.